Hello, good evening, and good welcome to Xbox Tavern's X-Pod Tavern episode 120th. I'm Jamie, and I am joined this week by MPV Graham. Hello, MPV Graham. How are you? Good welcome to you as well. I thought I'd throw that in there. Did you like that one?
A super good welcome to you.
You got to come up with little catchphrases here and there, haven't you? You know. Yeah, you all right? You keeping well?
I'm keeping very well. The garden's coming
good.
along nicely. I'm all spiffing.
Good. Spiffing indeed. And we've also got Scottish Gruff Ross. Come in.
Hello.
Welcome, Scottish Gruff Ross. How are you?
I'm not too bad yourself, gents.
A very good welcome to you, Ross.
A very good welcome to you, Mr. Scottish Gruff Ross.
We're going to have to start putting these in a list, because what's that? You've got what was your entrance here?
What?
Very good welcome to you.
Very good welcome.
Yeah, something like that. Good welcome.
And then your hashtag
good evening, good welcome. Hashtag be nice you cunts. As always, remember, that's the important part. Right, we might be joined by special guest Pete very shortly, but he's not quite ready, so we're going to get cracking with the show. This week we're going to talk about games we played, as usual, as well as a bit of Redfall backstage drama, a bit more Activision Blizzard.
Are they making it better?
I mean, they're going to have to go do something to get there, as well as a few other bits and pieces. But gentlemen, let's start, as we like to do each and every week, with what we've been playing. And let me have a quick peruse of the list here. Who's been playing something interesting? Nobody. Good. Right. No, I'm joking. Graham, you've been playing a wonderful game, which has sort of caught my eye. A game called Nightmare Reaper.
Yes. So
tell me all about it, please.
I am currently reviewing, and it's a very strange kind of game. It's got a massive sort of nod, stroke flashback to Doom, stroke Wolfenstein, the OG one. And sort of the graphics, sort of they move, that sort of two-dimensional, it turns as you turn kind of animation. So they're not 3D models. They kind of interact with your kind of reaction. And the story is just insanely bizarre, and the screen gets very, very busy at times. But it's fun enough. I mean, it just plays like a cool kind of Doomish games. There's like looter shooter is a right example of it, because it's got a ridiculous amount of guns, similar to imagine sort of Borderland guns inside the Doom based game. So there's magic books, there's crossbows, arrows, swords, chainsaws, and they have random perks to them. So I had a legendary shuriken that I picked up, and it said size times 500%. You threw a shuriken, it took up a third of the screen. You couldn't see that. Awesome. I was like, well, this isn't helpful. I don't know if there's any more enemies hiding behind them, but it's just this giant bloody shuriken. So it's that kind of anomaly. Sometimes they do vampiric damage. You can take some off. Sometimes you have a shotgun that's got explosive ammo. And so it's very sort of random in the sort of the traits that some of the guns kind of have. So there's a lot of variety, and every level all your guns get wiped out. You get to keep one gun at the end of the level, and all the rest get sort of wiped out. And then so in each level you find almost a minimum of 6 other guns, sometimes 12. There's lots of different sort of weapons to sort of choose from. And the game's relatively kind of tricky, and it definitely the difficulty kind of ramps up. But it's taken a really weird step to kind of leveling up or buying perks. Every time you kill an enemy or everything, you pick up loot, so coins. And with those coins, you can sort of activate a mini game to sort of get head start. You get more ammo, or you get more health to start off with. And one side, one mini game is imagine if Mario was almost like a Game and Watch kind of style. You go from screen to screen. You have to sort of collect coins and get to the end of the level. And it doesn't even matter if you fluff it. You just start again on that screen until you get to the end, and then you get that perk, which could be sort of more health, more ammo. So that's how you get your perk. You have to play a little mini game to earn them, basically. And a bit further on, you can unlock another mini game which is almost like a really rubbishy ripoff of kind of Pokemon. You go into a grass to get your little animal, and then you have to fight other people to get the perk that they're selling, which could be start with a better gun or more chance of better guns. But you have to sort of pay them to fight them, and then if you beat them, you get the perk. So it's kind of like a slightly interesting way of kind of leveling up or earning perks. But it's a niche thing. It's kind of a weird new idea. And story-wise, I could barely tell you what's kind of going on. You play as a lady in the kind of the Doom style thing, but when you read the documents, it says you're a guy. But when you're reading the documents, you're in some sort of insane asylum, and you're trapped inside sort of a room. But all you can do is look at the walls, look outside a window, and you're trapped inside a door, and then you can go to sleep, which starts the level. It's kind of weird. And as you progress, more documents appear that you can read through, and it's just telling you about this crazy lady that's been brought into the asylum, and everyone thinks it's trouble. So yeah, the story's a bit all over the place, but when you're playing and there's so much explosions and everything going off, you don't know what's hurting you, what's not. There could be like fire or acid on the ground that could be hurting you. You just have to keep an eye on your health all the time, saying, is this hurting me, or is it just the screen flickering? It's just carnage everywhere. But yeah, so it's fun. I quite like it. It's just very busy.
So in terms of the shooting, is it like I assume it's just hip firing and sort of relatively straight shots? Can you look up and down?
Yeah, you can look up.
You can look up and down. Okay.
I would recommend for those that are itching to pick it up that you expand the crosshair, because it gives you a tiny gnat's penis of a crosshair that's right in the center of the screen that you can barely make out what the hell is going on. So you have
some of those are used for working with little small things. I'll have you know.
Well,
don't be sizist.
Those familiar with that kind of appendages should be all right with the tiny crosshair, but I'd recommend sort of making that tiny bit bigger, because sometimes you want to shoot like a fire barrel from a distance and you can't really make out where the hell the crosshair is because it's so busy on the screen that it was almost like a millimeter crosshair. So I had to make that a little bit bigger to make that a bit more sort of to see where it is on the busy screen. But yeah, it's a good playthrough.
Nice. Yeah. So is when you said you only get to keep one gun, do you get to choose which gun you get to keep?
Yeah.
Or do you?
Yeah, for all that you picked up in the level, it says you get to keep a level 1 gun to maintain. So you can't take the super weapons with you. I assume once you get high enough in the perk bit, you might be able to take up to a level 2 gun or level 3 gun, but I haven't got that far into the perks list to sort of get something like that yet. But yeah, so yeah, you pick the gun you want to take with me. So yeah, you get to take one with you. It doesn't have to be that. It can be a chainsaw or a different weapon, but just a level 1 weapon you get to keep each level.
You know, the visual style is right on my street. What you're saying is right on my street, but I've got one very important question which is probably going to put me off.
What's that?
I saw the word roguelike appear. Does that mean when you die you got to start again?
Of the level,
wait, I was waiting for you to say, well, I haven't died yet.
Oh no, I have sort of a lot of it's from fall damage, because they've got like there's a tiny little area which has got some sort of platforming bit in there, because you find chests which give you weapons in, but they've got like portal jumpers, but if you don't land after the portal jumper, it's like it takes a massive old chunk of your health off when you land, and I've died many times from just falling from great heights. But yeah, you just start the level over again, but the level size is maximum probably up to about 8 minutes long, so they're not massive levels, and
so you're not massively set back then, not like you lose like an hour's progress or anything.
No, not at all. So you just restart that level again, and it changes each time you go back into it. It's a completely different layout, so you start like you're gonna get stuff a sort of repetitive monotony. It kind of the level changes design each time.
Fair enough. So enjoying it, but gonna get your review up at some point.
Who doesn't enjoy a bit of a Doom play? And yeah, it's like a modern take on
easy.
It with...
Don't search that category on certain sites. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, just imagine Doom where you can look up and down with kind of Borderland style guns, and that's kind of it kind of combined, really.
Nice. Ross, has that sold you with the word Borderlands guns?
I struggle with the art style. I like the idea of it. It looked mental. I like looter shooters. I love them. Roguelite, same as Jay. That's as soon as I seen that, I was like, dodging it a
I'm
bit.
not sure whether it is. I think the only roguelite bit is the upgrade tree. I'm telling you, the perk upgrades. That's the only thing that feels kind of roguelite about it. That so if you upgrade your perks, so you can have another go at the level. But that's about as roguelite as it gets.
I mean, the thing is, it's in Game Pass, so why not just try it? Is it in Game Pass? No, that's not the one that's in Game Pass. It's the other one I'm thinking of that's in Game Pass. That's what I'm getting mixed up with. Too many games in Game Pass. Best value in Game Pass.
Too many games in general, but especially in Game Pass. But yeah, I mean, I've got access to it, so I might give it a go at some point in the near future and check it out. But good. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Mr. Grayman. And before we move over to you, Ross, I'm just going to say hello and good welcome to special guest Pete.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Sorry, I'm late. Time just got away from me.
Good welcome to the late Pete.
Good welcome to the late Pete. Are you keeping well, special guest Pete?
I am. I was just made myself a nice little ham and coleslaw sandwich, and I was like, "Shit, it's 8:10."
Well, it's good that we kept you from a sandwich. I'm terribly sorry, but welcome. We're going to have a wonderful time of chatting about all wonderful goodness and Xbox fun this evening.
Don't worry, I did finish my sandwich before I came on, so don't worry about it.
That's all right.
Don't feel bad.
I don't feel so gilty now. Scottish Gruff, let's get to you. Let's get a game. Yes. I mean,
it's not a big selection.
I don't know which one I'd rather ask you about, but go on. Let's get the weekly update out of the way. Give us a bit of Football Manager.
We have a new league champion.
Before I start clapping, is it you?
Yes, Brighton secured the league. It was an inevitability. It was always going to happen. We went off the boil a wee bit in the league. Still dominating Europe. We've just had a nail biter of a European Champions League semi-final, which went to extra time, and Brighton qualified with literally the last kick of the ball. Loan signing Leon Goretzka. Beautiful strike. Put me in the final to play Barcelona. The league won over Bristol, so that was quite nice. Oh, sorry, I've got to call them the proper name. I'm getting told off because they're part of Bristol City and Bristol Rovers. Let's not get confused. So Bristol City finished second in the league. They have just beat me in the league, but I was playing like the kindergartners, so it's like Celtic Rangers. Celtic have won the league, Rangers won, and they thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. But we have trophies to win. We'll focus more on that. There is a FA Cup final still to be decided between Brighton and Bristol City, so that will be a special occasion, and a Champions League final still to get out of the way.
Good. Any lads, you got any questions for him? Because as you know, I'm not fully up on my football lingo, and I was definitely paying attention entirely just there.
No. Brighton are a good team to choose. I mean, obviously, I know I talked a few weeks ago about the network game I got with my two friends, and we finished our first season just last week, and I finished 5th in the league. Obviously, first season in the Premier League. Obviously, no editor, just playing squads, and I was in the top 3, but I had like a massive injury crisis towards the end of the season. I was playing kids, so I lost about 5 games in a row, which kind of put me in 5th, but I'm still happy with 5th. So Brighton are a good team to be.
I think at one point we were trying to think. I think we had like a 16-point lead at the top of the table. Started rotating my team heavily because I've got a Champions League final to try and aim for. Dropped a couple of games. Bristol City caught up with me a wee bit. So I think the league still has 3 or 4 games left. I think there's still like a 9-point lead over Bristol City. So even with the rotation, it's still quite a healthy margin of victory, but it's been a bizarre season in the league. My Man City, I think, are currently sitting in 9th, and that's with Haaland still at the team.
Wow.
They've had a bizarre season. I think the top of the league is Brighton, Bristol City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and then I think Man United are 5th. Villa were up there for a good while, and they fell off. But yeah, City's having a nightmare of a season, even though Haaland has something like 34 goals in the league. They're still sitting in the league.
It happens.
That'll tell you how useless the rest of their team is, even though they've got players like De Jong. Yeah. They've got a stupidly strong team. They're in the process of looking to sign Mbappe, even though they've got Haaland up front. So will be fucked if they bring both of them in. So
Pepe can play in the wing. It's fine.
yeah, no, I don't care where he can play. It's the fact he has to play against me.
Yeah.
So no, rolling up for the end of the season, it's been a brilliant season for Brighton. Brighton on course for a historic treble. Hopefully we can get that wrapped up before City do, because City are shit. And I'm not biting, Ian. I'm not biting.
Just in case you're not watching Ian's team special guest piece, and we need to get
I
you
feel like this needs to be addressed in Football Manager 24. I feel like the versus mode that FM24 has, I feel like we need to put this to the test.
Well, Ian would know because he's in the WhatsApp group chat where we're basically giving him minute-by-minute updates of what's happening. So who we're signing, who we're playing.
Exactly. So there's the next bit, obviously the exciting part for most FM fans is once you get through the first 4 seasons, a lot of players start disappearing, also retirements, and you start getting in your new gens, as they're called. So got a bunch of new gens coming in at the end of the season, so it's always good to see like you're developing the next Haaland, the next Messi, Ronaldo type idea. So there'll be interesting. There's been one player that has sort of hit the ground running so far. It's a player called Mohamed Wagyu. He is plays for Bristol City. Hats off to him. He's found an absolute diamond. 17 years old, I think he is. He's already playing in the first team, and he is scoring goals for fun, which is quite scary to think, considering he's only 17 and I'm going to have to deal with him for the next 15 years.
Nice. Did he, obviously I know you mixed up the squads, did the Bristol City guy, did he get to keep Alex Scott or did he get released?
So we had the option. So we're playing Football Manager, so I keep putting Football Manager 23. We're playing Football Manager 22, sorry. We playing last year's iteration.
Oh, okay.
So I keep saying 23, but Alex Scott wasn't. He was still a really high prospect. So we had the option at first is to take anybody from the team that we wanted, and using the transfer market, FM Insider, they've got a value system with all the players. We had 500 million to spend on our team, but that would get deducted off your 500 million if you wanted to keep any of the players. So I think when I first started with Brighton, I kept Cucurella, Lamptey, Caicedo. I think Sanchez. That was it. No, so I kept the 3 of them, and then just took that off my total for how much I was allowed to keep in the squad. I don't think he kept Scott, but I think in 22 he's not as highly rated. Whereas if it had been in 23 and he had got rid of him, I'd have been like, don't do that.
Yeah, when I signed him, he was championship quality, and then by the end of season 1, he's now a good Premiership player already. I signed him for about 11 million, and he's already worth about 60. So
yeah, he's a good player in this one. I think between him and the boy that Brighton currently has, Evan Ferguson.
Yeah, Ferguson.
Yeah.
So I think in the latest update, now that they've finished with all the sort of transfers and everything for the last update that they'll do for the game, he's regarded as one of the highest potential players that you can sign.
He's a wonder kid, but he's not ready straight away. I loaned him out to the Championship, and now he's ready for Premiership in the season 2.
We don't play the new game every year, so I think the last one that we played was Football Manager 17, and we ran that to the game. The game now no longer runs. If you try and roll their save file, it's just no, it refuses. So we'll probably do the same with 22. So we'll probably pick up Football Manager 26 unless there's a massive change in the game. Probably the next one that will start a network game on.
You've only got some few years to get yourself prepared, Pete, to go and run through Bristol and Brighton. Yes. See, I was paying attention. Good. Thank you very much for that wonderful Football Manager update. I'm looking forward to hearing more about the cups and championships you mentioned.
I'll say, you sure I haven't got any more questions from him, Jay? I'm sure.
I don't mind. I'm happy to answer them.
That's usually Ian's job. I'm surprised.
I was going to say, Ian's got a question for me here. It says, what about that Welsh footballer that I like?
What?
Sign him. What Welsh footballer? I don't know. What?
Gareth Bale?
Yeah, why not? I don't know. Welsh footballer. More Welsh football players, please. Anyway. I'm dying. Right, gentlemen, are you done?
I'm going to specifically find a Welsh wonder kid just to sign. And I'm going to update him weekly for Jay's progress. I'll send screenshots and everything just so Jay knows his wonder kid's being looked after.
I know. Good. Thank you very much. That might get me invested. I mean, it's a long shot, but it might. Right. If you're happy with your Football Manager chat, I shall quickly interject with a short, quick game that I've been playing, and then we'll get to special guest Pete's big banger of the week. I've been playing a game called The Tartarus Key, which is a sort of retro first-person. It sort of teases like a survival horror, but there's no actual like combat or like survival part of it. It's more like a psychological sort of thriller. And you wake up as this lady Alex in a room, and it's basically a series of escape rooms. So you start in the first room, and the only clue you're given is there's a walkie-talkie on the table, and when you use it, you talk to another person who's in another room in the same situation, and you sort of bounce clues back and forth off each other through the story. And then eventually you get out the room, you meet up in person, and then you explore this house that you're in, and you have to try and find a way out. And along the way, you find some of these other characters we've seen in the trailer here, and their fates are sort of in your hands. So the puzzle room that they're in, it's possible to fail and kill them, or you can save them, and then they join your effort to escape. And it's not very long. It took me like 5 hours to get through. But I really fucking enjoyed it. It was really, really good. Like the puzzles were sort of perfectly pitched in terms of they don't give you like, here's a crank, and oh look, there's a hole that a crank will go in over there. I wonder what you could possibly do here. They sort of just put you in a room, and you just got to look around and see what you can find, and then try and figure out what goes where, kind of thing. But it's like I said, not as obvious as the example I've just given. It's a bit more subtle, and it's quite clever at times. Like there was one where you're trying to save one of the characters, and you're sort of hunting around, and you got to make him a drink. But in order to make him a drink, you've got to open the panel which has got the drinks in it. Blah 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 blah. And the only clue that you're given is a painting. If you look at it, it's sort of the way it's laid. The room is laid out in the painting is ever so slightly different to the way the room is laid out in real life, as it were. And so sort of you use that as a clue as to what you need to move in the room to find the next step of the puzzle, etc., etc. It's really good, really well made. It's got a very awesome sort of retro PS1 Sega Saturn style visual quality to it, which you know me, I love a bit of Sega Saturn retro goodness. And yeah, I just loved it from start to finish. There was only one puzzle which I actually got properly stuck on, which I did have to look up because I was going around in circles. And funnily enough, as I put in my review on the Xbox.com, it's the only puzzle where you're not locked in a room that you've got to get out of. It was just a puzzle in order to progress into a room. So the entire house was free to me to roam. So I looked around everywhere for the fucking clue, and I've no idea. And even when I looked at the guide to help me through it, even then they just put the code in which I was looking for and didn't show me where it was. So well, I don't even understand how that puzzle was supposed to be solved. But that was the only one. The rest of them I did all by myself, like a big boy. And I did get the bad ending because I failed to save one of the 4 characters you can save.
That's a surprise.
So yeah, I know, but that was before I realized you could save anywhere. So the rest of them, I killed them all, but luckily I saved before I made the decision, so I could go back and reload it and do it again. But yeah, it's really good, really enjoyable little indie, like I said, sort of psychological thriller.
Sounds like kind of Resident Evil style puzzles.
No,
they are very Resident Evil styles.
That crank and socket joke was definitely ripped on a Resident Evil.
I mean, that was definitely a bit of a dig at the Resident Evils, but there are elements of Resident Evil puzzle, like placing the medallions in the right place, or flicking switches on and off in the right order, sort of stuff like that.
What about the gem and the
but yeah. Do you know what? I feel like there was something similar, obviously not exactly that, but something that could be construed as that. Really good. Really enjoyed that wonderful little indie puzzle / thriller / retro game that is new, and it was good. Yeah, highly recommend it. Good. Check out my review, like I said, right now on Xbox.com. But let's get to the big bad boy, shall we? Special guest Pete, you've been playing a little game called Diablo 4. And I've got a funny story, but I'll tell you about that in a little bit. You have been playing it this weekend. Tell me all about Diablo 4, please.
With pleasure. A game I wasn't expecting to be playing anytime soon, to be honest with you. But Jamie came in clutch with the review code, and I couldn't say no. We all played it in the beta, and I absolutely loved it so much that I went out and bought the kind of 2 and 3 bundle and smashed through number 3 in time for this. And it's safe to say I am having a bloody good time. I've already written my review.
Not just a good time, a bloody good time.
Bloody good time.
It's I put it in my review. I put today. Obviously, the Diablo franchise is kind of almost known. It's kind of like a loot and grind game, but it genuinely is so much more than that. Especially if you actually pay attention to the story. Unlike,
hang on, there's a story.
I mean, some people. Yeah, and it's it's the war still going on between heaven and the hell kind of thing, and it's you're a Nephilim, and obviously it's up to you to defeat the big bad that's known as Lilith, and it's crazy to think that actually Diablo 3 was actually released over 10 years ago now, so it's been over 10 years since it's been like a new game in the franchise. Obviously the mobile game got released, which I think we all heard and saw the video of them. Was it E3 they announced it, or BlizzCon, where everyone was in the crowd and they announced, have you not got phones? And it all fell flat on its ass. And yeah, this game, I mean, it doesn't disappoint. And I think, I think Diablo 3 or 4, sorry, this game, and I think Blizzard has actually shown that AAA developers can release a game and it works and it's good from day one. There's no roadmap. There's no kind of, oh yeah, we'll fix that in a month. We'll fix that in 2 months. Yeah, sorry, the multiplayer doesn't work. There's no PvP for 6 months. It's all there and it's ready to go. And it's bloody brilliant. I'll call it early now. It is going to be hard to beat. This is my game of the year. It's that good. Like, honestly, I'm having fun. I've got 4 characters. Obviously, you've got 5 different classes with your barbarian, sorcerer, druid, rogue, and the kind of returning necromancer. I haven't played a barbarian, but the other 4 classes, I've got a character each to at least level 15. My highest is a necromancer on level 25 now, I believe. And like I said, it's so much fun being able to just every class is fun to play as. It's very rare, and I think something that's in some games when try and respec it can be quite expensive. And like we said in the beta, like it was quite cheap. We thought it might become quite expensive when the new game comes out, but no. I've got 50,000 gold on my player, and it costs about 200 to respec all my talents. So it's pennies. You can kind of respec and play the way you want to play. You can even obviously don't know what you're going to expect going into a dungeon, but if you think, okay, I'm going to be close quarters, I might want abilities that are suited for close quarters rather than kind of ranged combats, which every class does have. It's superb. Like like I said, it is great that actually a AAA game has come out and it works. There's no need to write a sorry post on Twitter like all the other games have in the last couple of years.
We're sorry that we let you clown, and we promised.
I mean, you've seen the Gollum game came out and got panned. They got an apology. There was obviously
Redfall, Jedi Survivor. Take your fucking pick this year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was Cyberpunk that kicked it all off, right? With this kind of trend of games being released unfinished and broken, right? But thankfully, these guys took their time. I mean, we saw how flawless it was in the beta, and even the service, was it called the service smash, where they just let everyone come in and go
service
right,
lab.
Test the servers, and it still works. There was no lag on the server. Well, I had my own lag, which was my fault, obviously not Blizzard's, but it works. It's great, and it's fucking fantastic. Like I said, it's going to be very hard to top as game of the year.
Very nice. I'm glad to hear you're enjoying it. So. Yeah. You said you've played 4 characters, different up to level 15, blah, blah, blah. Have you just been doing like the opening mission 4 times in a row, or are you able to swap out like to a different point in the story?
No, you have to start kind of over again. So even though you are starting over 4 times, obviously the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th character, obviously I do skip the cutscenes because obviously I've already seen the story. It does save quite a lot of time, to be fair. I know. But the thing is as well, the perks you unlock, like you can unlock extra skill points. Obviously, like I told you obviously about the money I've got in my bank. That is on your account, not just per character, it's on your account. So if you've grinded 50,000, that will be across your account. Same as you can unlock, there's these certain perks you can unlock. So now I've unlocked a perk, I've unlocked something. So now every time I start a new character, I can actually do a skill point straight away. So I don't need to go around and just chop a few things to level up. I've actually got a skill point ready to go, so I can choose what you want to do from the start.
Yeah, very nice. I was about to ask you another question then. Have you been playing with, like, when you go into the open world, can you just meet randoms, or do you have to party up in the hub world and then head out?
Yep, so it is one of the negative things where even as a single player experience, it's always online. Once you've got past the prologue, the first bit, it is kind of you're in the open world and you can basically play anyone. Has its pros and cons. Obviously, what a major pro is, you saw these in the beta events, you had those kind of world events. You know, if you're kind of fighting this world event, someone can come in and help you out, because sometimes they do get a bit tricky, especially when you're playing on the higher difficulty. Someone will come in and save you, and you can just work as a team and build on mobs, and you both get the rewards at the end of it. You know, I was quite lucky. I ventured into one where I literally killed 2 mobs. The event completed, and I got all the loot as well. So I was like, "Yep, lovely." So,
So see, with the looting system, Pete, how does it work? Is it like, do you split the loot? So see, like, you got like a legendary sword. If like 4 people are doing it, do you all get it, or is it whoever picks it up?
I believe it's different to if you're playing with a group of friends, like obviously like me, Jay Gray, and Ian did. I believe you see different loot. But when you're in that part, if I'm in a party with these guys, if I say, "Oh, Graham's a barbarian, I'm going to drop that legendary sword," he can pick it up and look at it. However, if I'm playing with randoms, they won't be able to see the item I drop.
Right. Okay. So, because I was going to say Borderlands, Borderlands do it similar. So, like, if I just say, like, I'm just thinking of Borderlands, like the Unkempt Harold, for example. If we went and farmed the boss that dropped that, if it drops, we both get it, but it'll be like at relevant level. So, say I'm level 58 and you're level 75. You'll get a 75 version, I'll get a 58 version, but we'll both get the same loot pool.
Yeah, it does that as well. So I think I got a head start in the beta. I think I was like level 10, and these guys obviously started level 1. I think I dropped a level 10 weapon, and Graham picked up, and it was like level 2 or level 3, whatever it was.
Okay.
So it does level scale like that as well.
Good. That's the best way for like these sort of games. Not getting something that's like 15 levels ahead of you, and you're like, "Fuck it, we're never going to get a chance to use this."
Yeah, you put it in your stash and you forget about it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Sell it.
Yeah, exactly.
And have you found that when you've been partnering up with people, have you been able to like team up with them and carry on into the rest of the world, or once you've done that, do you have to go your separate way?
To be honest, maybe we could do the kind of the thanks emote, and we go off in our separate ways, you know, because some people literally just pass them through, and then we'll just help you slay mobs. So yeah, it's been a really positive experience so far.
Yeah, good. And so I think it's out properly on Tuesday, is it?
The 6th, yeah. So Tuesday is the official launch. Obviously, we've had the kind of the early not early adopters, but obviously the early access. That's it.
The people who spunked away even more money than anyone else. The premium.
And of course, you know, if you don't follow Tavern on Twitter, you would have known. Well, if you don't follow us, you wouldn't have seen. Obviously, on Friday and last night, I actually streamed a couple of hours. So on Friday, I streamed as the Sorcerer, which we put on a poll on Twitter, didn't we? And the community picked the Necromancer. And last night, I played as the Druid, which was not as fun, but it was still good.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I think we were all trying to get you to play as a Druid just because we expected it would be probably the least, well, probably the most challenging, I would say. But it sounds.
Well, I mean, from what I read online, the Druid is supposed to be the most overpowered. Yet to see why, but I'm sure it will be at some point. Because like a Druid, you know, you got I think 5 spells or 5 things you can choose from. You've got 2 melee attacks where you can turn into a werewolf, you can turn into a bear, and then you've got 1 where you just infuse your weapon with lightning and do lightning strikes, or you've got 2 range attacks. So again, as I said before, if you're in a party, as a Druid, you can basically be a tank or a DPS guy. So again, pay the way you want.
Nice. So anyone got any other questions? I'm sort of struggling here to think of anything else to ask him. I'm sure there's many more things we can ask, but without getting too into the weeds.
I'm just looking forward to actually getting in and playing it.
Oh yeah, and it's so bloody gorgeous as well. The amount of detail in these levels is ridiculous. Like obviously you got a lot of the breakable kind of the atmosphere where you got your barrels and the carts and all that kind of stuff. And like you go into a dungeon, you look at this door and you think, bloody hell, every single brick you can just see everything. There's so much detail. It's not a small job by any means,
Yeah, nice.
And the game rewards you for being obviously you can when you go into a dungeon, you can go straight to the boss or straight to the end game if you want to. But obviously, if you're like me and many kind of RPG players, you will like to kind of more of a completionist. You like to kind of try and see every single corner to make sure you haven't missed anything. And you're rewarded by fighting kind of like mini bosses, and you end up getting decent loot, which can end up helping you beat the boss.
Happy days. So you said you shared money across characters. Can you share items as well, or do you?
No, just the money in the packs. Yeah.
Really? Usually, Diablos usually had like a storage that you could put. Do you know what? Quite near the base that you can switch between them.
Yeah.
There is a stash, and I've forgot to check that, but I'll have to hold that, ignore that. What as I said, there is a stash.
That used to be quite a common staple of Diablo games that you had a stash that you could share between them.
Yeah, Borderlands has got something like that as well, where you dump it in, and then when you come in with a different character, it's sitting there ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure you can. I just haven't checked that. I'll have to check that. But I'm pretty sure you can.
Fair enough. Good. Nice. Well, thank you very much for that in-depth Diablo talk. We'll get your review up and stuff on in the next day or two when I stop being a lazy cunt and actually get on with it. Graham, let's go back to you now. You've got a game on your list, which when I can find it here, is let me. Where's it gone?
This is the one was Game Pass I was thinking of.
Yes.
Cassette Beast. So this is just coming to Game Pass, and tell us all about it. What is it? What kind of game is this, please?
So Cassette Beast is kind of a game very much with a Pokemon tone to it. So you've been kind of washed ashore on this kind of mysterious place, and basically everyone else that's there is just accepted to the fact that they're stuck there. And as you kind of bump into this person, they sort of show you that there's monsters that live on this kind of area, and the way that you fight them is you have a cassette player, and then whatever tape is inside the cassette player, you turn into that beast. And then that's kind of how you fight. Very fine, kind of Pokemon style, but it has its own kind of different spin on it. It has different kind of types. You're not your standard kind of fire, ice, and all that one. They will have like different styles to them. And they have unique kind of looks. They do have evolutions, and they also have fusions as well, which is quite cool.
I can hear Ross like getting like his tables just lifting up slightly. I can...
Yeah, so it's the same sort of thing. Instead of Pokeballs, you've got blank cassette tapes, and it's not the easiest thing to try and sort of record them. So the idea is that you don't just sort of throw the ball at them when they're weak to capture them. You have to sort of try it when they're weak, but you kind of have to try to knock them out as you're capturing them. Because when you try to capture, you go into your human state, which leaves you vulnerable, and they can still hit you in your human state. So you kind of, if they hit you, your health goes down and your percentage to capture them gets lower. It tells you your capture percentage. So it says at this point, it's about 60%. If you weaken them, it goes up. If they hit you, it goes down. And then at the end, you sort of, that's if the percentage rate of your chance of capturing that kind of beast. But it's, they don't shy away from it. I mean, there's rangers in there. So as there is Pokemon Rangers, so they're keeping that bit in. You have to find 8 captains, very similar to gym leaders. So they're not shying away from these kind of things. But the different kind of cassette beasts that you catch give you different kind of perks. As you capture certain ones, they allow you to sort of drift off from higher platforms to lower platforms to help you reach different area. There's a lot of puzzle elements to it to try and sort of progress to other parts of the map. I've now unlocked a part where I kind of accidentally broke the game, but if you capture this bullet kind of type beast, it gives you a dash kind of move. But if you hit certain terrain and you dash into it, it allows you to climb up that terrain. And there was an area that allowed me to climb up the terrain, and I climbed up and shot outside of the zone. The game just went.
Yep. Don't want to work anymore.
Boundary break.
it was a complete nope. And when I did it again, it kind of shot me back on the map. So, and then I went back around to where I should have gone, and the cutscene I just watched tried to happen again, but there was no one there to have the cutscene with. So the game was like, and it got stuck again. So there's a couple of bugs in it, but it's only because I'm doing stupid things.
I mean,
you're pushing it to its limit.
The game looks like, obviously, because I'm going to compare it to the idea of Pokemon, and looking just at the screenshots of it, the game looks incredible. Like the actual
Graham, you set him
artwork of
off.
it.
Graham, what have you done? No.
If you're a Pokemon fan, you will not go wrong. It is.
Oh, this looks. This
So then,
is
these cassette tapes, do they then evolve into kind of like VHS,
Walkmans.
DVD, Blu-ray kind of?
No. So the way that they don't evolve in the same way as well. So as you sort of get your experience points, they gain stars next to their kind of cassette. And once they hit 5 stars, you have to kind of do a certain action to trigger their evolution. And then you rest. And then when you rest, you get the chance to evolve them into their next state. And so that's kind of, it's sort of a different take on the evolutions kind of things. But the cool bit's the fusion. It's like any cassette beast can fuse with another. So with your partner, you can just pick any 2 random beasts. And then when you hit the fusion meter, it fuses them and it comes up with a whole new name of what that beast is, like a complete sandwich of a name. And then
It's
you
when you
get
see
both
these-
of their moves.
It's when you see the content creators who they make like there's that like website where you can take 2 Pokemon and combine them
pretty
and you make
much
it into
that.
that.
Yeah.
Now they've just basically that's a really good idea. Let's put it into this game. That will work perfectly.
It does. It is pretty cool to do it, and it doesn't hold your hand like Pokemon does as well. It gives you kind of quests, and some of them are kind of outside of your level range, and you'll get sort of pumped if you try and go there too early. But it just goes, this is where the bit is. This is whereabouts it kind of is in the map. You have to go there to try and find it. And then you have to try and solve the puzzle to get to that part of the map and then try and sort of complete the quest to do that kind of the bit. So there's no hand holding with the quests, and there's different mini quests, side quests and other things to do at the same time as the main quest, which is you have to find a way of getting off that kind of island. And you do that by these kind of Archangel kind of
Archangels, I'd seen that when I was looking at the trailer that there was something mentioning Archangels,
yeah, so they're like sort of basically super cassette beasts that you have to sort of really sort of beef up your team to try and take on, and I've managed to beat 2. But then they're not easy, and you definitely have to have a fusion ready to kind of stand a chance against them because they have some wipe out moves in there. But the moves are kind of also kind of what set it apart as well, because you can rip off, you can have up to, I think there's about 7 or 8 moves each kind of monster can have, which something that Pokemon never been able to do. There's only ever been 4. So you can have 8, but you don't have to stick with them. You can peel them off. Like they count as stickers, the moves, and so you can just peel them off and then put any other move on that you've got in your sticker album onto that beast, providing it's the right type. So there's like normal moves that any monster can have, and there's certain type moves that you can apply to your kind of tape, so you can sort of mix and match some of the moves, and you're not cemented. If you don't like that move, you can just sack it off, peel it off, and then put a different move on as well. So you can kind of switch the moves around. So it's quite sort of a cool way. If you like a good move, you can try and attach it to a different beast that you want to play as. And so,
well, I know what I'm doing on my week off.
so that's also why I mentioned it to Jay as what could be a potential sort of Project Game Pass game as well.
Oh, wait, whoa.
I didn't have one before,
We'll-
but this definitely
we'll
kind of piqued my interest to sort of stir it up.
Yeah, we'll get to that actually very shortly. We'll get to the old Project Game Pass section of the show very quickly. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. It doesn't sound like my sort of thing whatsoever. But if it comes up, I will play it. Because
I mean, that
I'm a
doesn't
good little
surprise
boy.
me, G. I mean, you like shit like Pikmin.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, couldn't you maybe play generic first person? Considering you maybe
First the
play
Football Manager,
generic
now the
first-person
Pokemon.
shooters.
And the wonderful indie titles like Lake. Anyway, thank you very much, Graham. It sounds interesting, and you've certainly piqued Ian and Ross's interest as well as some guys in the chat, including X1 the Gamer. Hello, how are you? Yeah. So, we might have to play it for Project Game Pass very soon. But Ross, let's move on to you if that's all right, Greg. Unless you've got anything else you want to bring up about cassette beasts.
Yes.
Good. Ian, Fucking hashtag be nice. Now fuck off, you can't. Right. Ross, tell me all about what you've been doing in Elden Ring this week.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet because I am very mindful of the fact that Ian is in the chat and he will shame me for my limited progress in it. So I finally completed technically the second boss, but the first proper boss in the game. I have spent a lot of time just sort of exploring the whole map and trying to unlock as much of it as possible. I didn't realise that going to an area didn't unlock it on the map. You have to actually find the map of that area before it unlocks. So I've just been sort of trying to wander through the whole of the lands in between to get as much of that uncovered as possible. This game is not very good at telling you where you can and cannot go. So I have very much turned around corners to be met by sort of dragons and going, oh shit, I'm not at the level to be facing that quite yet. Various other different enemies that are like 3 times the size of sort of buildings that I would consider wanting to go near. Stunning game. I can't believe it's taken me this long to jump into it. As hard as hell as it is, I'm enjoying every single minute I managed to actually get put into it. So now starting to make a proper focus and going through the story. I done one of the main side quest lines that again drops you in the middle of a map where you are completely under-leveled, even though you've completed this storyline. So you're, fantastic. This is the next logical place to go in the game because I've completed this side quest. No, don't do that. Don't fall into that trap. You'll literally drop in and every enemy in the area just one-hits you. So I've learned my lesson with Elden Ring, never to take things at surface value and proceed very cautiously. But it's the stories. I like the idea of the lore behind like what the Elden Ring is and your Elden Lords. Starting to hear about like how the Tarnished are and things like that, and how different Tarnished in the world are. They behave differently based on like what they are. So you've got a couple of characters who end up at a place called the Round Hole Table, which is for all the Tarnished, which is what your character is. And yeah, starting to dig into the story, starting to dig into the main quest line and bosses, and really, really hope that I can actually get further forward without getting my ass kicked every 3.5 seconds.
So there is a story. It's not just a try not to die simulator.
Yes, there is a story. Yep, it's slow in developing, but there is a story there. As you say, it isn't just how long can I go before I go back to a site of grace because I've had my ass handed to me. But like I say, it's got wee bits that hold your hand. I say hold your hand, reward you is maybe a better way of doing it. So, like if you go into like a fort, for example, and you take an absolute ass kicking, and you've had to use your flask to try and keep the health up. You get to the last bit, you have no flasks left, and you've got 2 enemies to defeat, and you've got a quarter of your health bar left. If you manage to kill both of those enemies, you get your flasks like refilled because it's like you've cleared the area. So by clearing the area, you get your flasks back, or you get some of your flasks back. You don't get all of them back, but it's almost like risk reward. Like you've used 3 of them, and you don't want to go back and go to a site of grace because if you rest, it respawns all the enemies. So you like, do I take this area on knowing that if I can do it, I'll get all my flasks back and I can then go a bit further without having to worry about resting up? Or do I try and avoid it and then still have to go through this next section with only half the amount of flasks that I need? But very, very enjoyable game. It's actually made me download Dark Souls 2, I think I've already had. So I'm going to start going through the Souls games and then probably go back and play Demon Souls on the other console that we shan't talk about.
Whoa! We don't mention that here.
No.
What's this? We love it. We all love video games everywhere. Don't be mad at us. I love video games everywhere. Yeah, no, good. I'm glad you're enjoying a bit of Souls-like goodness and getting your ass handed to you over and over again. That's what we like to see. Excuse me. Nice. All right. Well, I'll very quickly jump in with another game that I've been playing, which is just come on Game Pass as well, much like Graham's Cassette Beasts. I've been playing a little game called Planet of Lana, and it's fucking excellent. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about it, just in case we sort of maybe it might appear in the Game Pass list, perhaps, maybe not. Who knows? But It's sort of along the signs, the style of like Inside and Limbo, where you run along a 2D plane and there's very light physics puzzles of sorts where you've got to move objects to climb up areas and knock down ropes and stuff like that. And there's enemies that will kill you in one hit if they catch you, so you've got to try and time it just right. And if the way this laid out, it's always like you only just make it, and even though you will make it, it's sort of designed to make it sort of that bit more tense by sort of teasing you, like oh, you got away with that one. Yeah, really enjoying it so far. I think about 2 hours in, and as I understand, it's only about a 4-hour game, so yeah, not doing too bad, but yeah, really enjoying it. And it looks lovely. The music, especially, I'm a bit of a sucker for music in video games. It's fucking awesome. It's really, really good. So I'm hoping we start. Well, perhaps it turns up in the Project Game Pass. Special guest Pete, have you got anything else you want to bring up, or should we move on to Project Game Pass?
No, obviously I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which was consuming me before I obviously started playing Diablo. So I was quite enjoying it. It got a bit of stick in the when it got released, because it wasn't Assassin's Creed like. It's actually more kind of similar to Far Cry, which is why I think I'm enjoying it. But I think once Diablo has stopped consuming me, I will go back to that.
Fair enough. All right, so we get on to Project Game Pass, then, gentlemen, and we're gonna round off the month of May with where we were playing Redfall. I'm just gonna bring up a comment for you from Happy Cloud Gamer. Hello, it's been a while. Congratulations on the new house. They say they've been playing a bit of Redfall. It's bad, yes, but not as bad as many are saying. I've got a feeling we might disagree with you slightly here, Happy Cloud, but stick around. Tell us why we're wrong, because I think the overall consensus is that it's bad, perhaps with maybe Ross coming out the most positive with a lot of us, perhaps. So let's go to him first, because looking at his scores here, it seems to be a bit higher. So Ross,
and you always say the Scots are negative bastards.
I mean, there's got to be some sort of perks to living in the Highlands, right? Ross.
Exactly. So
we played before. Sorry, before you get going. Sorry, we played. How long did we play for? About 2.5 hours the other day.
Yes.
We streamed it. It's on YouTube now. It's on Twitch as well. So you can go check out our gameplay there. But Ross, sorry, carry on. I interrupted you.
So as Pete is now just making an amendment to his status, this is where my score comes from. And I've done the exact same. Gears of War, I would never play by myself. I don't see the enjoyment of just playing this type of game by myself. So that's why I'll premise my score with, I've said 6 out of 10 for mine, solely because the co-op experience that we had was brilliant. And what I liked about it was, as much as when we first dropped in and we were playing on whatever level we were playing on, Dusk or whatever it was, I can't remember. It was shit, as in, well, not shit, but it was just, you looked at an enemy and like half the populace disappeared because you were far too overpowered and they were very weak. When we cranked the difficulty up, though, obviously me and Pete, me and Gray, me and Pete, means whoever was, me and Pete were considerably under leveled, so that didn't help matters. But even Jay and Gray were going down because the enemies then became a proper challenge, instead of just like being able to look at them the wrong way and then they disappear into a pile of ash.
Can I just interject though? It was like random, where one enemy we killed a piece of piss, it turned around, the other one is like fucking made a fucking brick wall. What the hell is this? So there's no like gradual up. The difficulty is like easy, dead.
So what I would say is, if you're getting like a team together of similar levels, you set it at the right difficulty for what you're playing, and you're playing with a group, it's enjoyable and it's a good game. It is lacking. There's no way, shape or form against that. The weapons are very, very... You've got the same gun, but it's got a slightly different piece on it. It doesn't really make the gun do anything different. It's just, it makes it a slightly higher rarity. Yeah. So it needs a bit of diversification in regards to the weapons and things like that. But with a group, playing it properly in regards to all sort of levels similar and setting it to the right difficulty, it is enjoyable. So that's why I'm sticking to my 6 out of 10.
Graham, I'm going to bring you in here because I've got a feeling you're going to be on my side more than their side. Was it enjoyable because it's a good game, or was it enjoyable because we were having fun as a foursome?
Yeah, more towards the fact it was kind of a group kind of play, but I was kind of with Ross on the fact that when we ramped that difficulty up, it was that challenge made the game a whole lot more fun to enjoy. But obviously, you could say of any game, playing it with friends always sort of amplifies the enjoyment, and this was no different. Sort of the game itself, I mean, there's so many annoying things about it, sort of having to all be there to accept a quest. There's so many sort of annoying quirks about the game that's hard to overlook. But playing it with the 4 as we did at that difficulty made it way more challenging. And sort of, talking about sort of me going down, I was the resident medic for that whole bloody ordeal. But
At least me and Pete had an excuse. Jay, on the other hand, Jay had fucking nothing to defend himself with.
We were like
10, 12 levels under where everybody else was.
We turned into the level 1 vampire. So they looked at us and we fucking turned into dust.
Exactly.
So, vampire. Oh, shit, I got hit. I'm down.
So many picking ups, but I mean that just added to the kind of enjoyment, because the other alternate when we played on that dust difficulty, it was just ridiculous. You could just sneeze and kill everyone in sight. There's just no challenge to it, and it just killed the atmosphere. Whereas that harder difficulty definitely brought back a bit more atmosphere to the game that was massively lacking under the easier difficulty. That, and it actually made enemies appear. I think on that dust set, it was like one enemy per square mile. But,
even then, though, I'm not entirely sure that it didn't. All changing difficulty we did was make them take more bullets. It wasn't like they got any smarter, or it wasn't like I mean, I don't even think it really.
I'll say the volume
there was
increased.
More enemies there. Maybe in some of the missions we tried, but like the vampire nests and stuff. But I don't know how much of that is just because we were getting further in the game, whereas the difficulty didn't affect it. So I'm not really sure, but
I mean, the open world was still.
When I played it with just you, there was way more enemies. When it was just the two of us, there was so less enemies to fight.
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing. There wasn't more, but I don't know if there was a difficulty necessarily than just the missions we were playing, because we were sort of towards the end of the game.
Maybe,
but I mean, my review's up now. I gave it a 4 out of 10 because I just did not like it at all. But it was fun playing with the 4 of us, having a laugh.
So much wrong with it.
Yeah, having a bit of banter, having a bit of jokes. Sort of basically taking a piss out of the game. But in terms of the gameplay, I don't like the gun feel. I don't like the way they handle the loot. I don't like the way they handle the pickups. I don't like the way they handle the stupid mission select, like you said, where you've all got to be stood, fucking touching bum cheeks to be able to accept a mission. It's just there's so many bafflingly bad design decisions that get in the way of the fun. Like we could have quite happily just jumped into nests and missions all night long and smashed it out, but there was not.
Well, it's in the middle.
We could have been playing anything. As far as I'm concerned, and we would have had just as much fun.
It's not that you can consider it a good game, but you can't just say it's sort of unplayable. Like people are kind of making it out like it's a completely broken, unplayable.
No, it works to an extent. But it's just, it doesn't work as well as we'd hoped.
Should have, absolutely.
As a Happy Cloud here says, Redfall's a game I play like you have on TV in the background, but not focus on too much. So it's just something to play while you're doing something else, perhaps, or talking to your friends like we were doing and having a laugh and a joke rather than sort of really getting stuck into it and paying too much attention. Especially because Pete, I haven't gone to you yet. Thoughts and opinions on the game you played with us?
Yeah, it's definitely not a game you should play by yourself. Unless, I mean, it might be worth going back and cranking the difficulty up for single player and see if that changes it. Because we all just left it on the default mode, didn't we? Right, and the default difficulty was just a piece of piss, as we've already discussed. And I think you're right. I think obviously playing anything together is always more fun. And I think it was the fact that we were all able to, agree that we were kind of laughing at the game, not with the game, but it still managed to be a good time. And I think that it kind of almost warranted a second night of playing, starting on the harder difficulty, just to see if it changed our perception of the game at all. But obviously, I don't think we'll ever get around to doing that. So,
well, I still would like to properly get to the end with like a group of us and go through it like that. So I'm still up for playing it and finishing it off. But
I mean, I think one of the bits of praise I can give for it is like the month now ended, so we're on to the next one, and I haven't uninstalled it yet. So I've still got the intention, like the size of games now, everything you want to try and install something new. So like Diablo preloaded, I didn't get rid of Redfall to put something else on with the mindset of no, I want to go back and play it as a group.
Yeah, I think Redfall could have done with the leveling system that like games do, like what Diablo does, where if you got like a level 10 and level 30, the world kind of face the same enemies and you have the same challenge. So you kind of all level up together kind of thing. Whereas, you know, it was me and you, Ross, we were standing there and we were I had a shotgun. I shot this guy, 5 times in the head? You had like a minigun. You were literally spraying 2 rounds of guns in him. It was also, he was trying to shoot Jay, but me and you were trying to shoot him. And he was not going down.
Exactly. I mean, it's well walking up to the back of him and going,
I know.
So that's what I mean, though. It's not, it didn't increase the difficulty because it was like, wow, it's so much harder. It's just now they take 50 times more bullets and it's just annoying.
Yeah.
But then what is an increase in difficulty then? Like, how do you class
expect them to take a bit more damage, but then also to, as Graham said, increase in numbers, increase in ability. So it's like, think of like Halo, for example. The normal enemies are pretty standard. They stand there and shoot you. When you put up to legendary, they sort of take cover. They work as a team. They try and flank you and stuff. That's what I'd expect more from increasing it rather than just having 2 times that take 50 times as many bullets. Yeah. And again, it was fun. I mean, like I said, we could have been playing anything and it would have been a good laugh. But yeah, I would like to go back and play some more just to get it out of the way and finish it off and move on to something that's actually competent, perhaps. So final verdicts here. We'll go around. Ross, out of 10, you've already given it, but repeat it, please.
6 out of 10 for me.
And Graham?
I'd say 5.
And special guest, Pete?
So I'll give it a 5 now. Just give it a few more points just because of how fun the multiplayer was. So single player, 3.9. Play with friends, it's more enjoyable. But yeah, 5 overall.
Yeah, and as I said, my review, I've got to stick by what I've written down already, so which is a 4. And no amount of fun co-op experience, I don't think is going to change my opinion on what is broken on that game. I had such high hopes, but unfortunately, it failed to live up to them. But yeah, let us know, comments, Twitters, etc., what you think of Redfall. As Happy Cloud has been doing. Hello again. We're going to pick a new game though for Project Game Pass for the month of May. This one's going to be a bit tricky, I think, because 3 of us, 4 of us, if you include Ian, they're going to be away for a little while, so we might not get a chance to play too much. So we've got here Happy Cloud 6.5 for Redfall for him. Again, it seems to be more, the multiplayer I think is holding up than the actual competency of the game. But let's move on to the next.
She's determined to show it. I don't care what you say about co-op.
I don't care what anyone says. It's fucking shit. How dare you enjoy something I didn't enjoy? Fuck you. No.
Yeah, such
right. So we're gonna.
as well.
I mean, once you got that bee in your bonnet, you can't let it go. Anyway, we're going to pick a new game for the game of for the month of June.
Are we going to pick a new game?
Well, this random picker wheel I've got signed onto the side of the screen is going to do it for us. We've each pick a game. I've got 5 games in here. I'm just going to read them out now. We've got Age of Empires 2, Planet of Lana, Golf with Your Friends, Cassette Beast, and Eastern Exorcist. So I'm going to hit the old spin button.
Oh, we'll get this up on full screen.
See, this is why
I want none of this controversy.
This is why I picked 2 shorter games, because I knew we wouldn't be around much.
Yeah.
Plus, I know people like Ian's never going to play Age of Empires. We'll never play it.
Not that I mean, I could spin it again and cheese.
Can you not just share the screen?
I could, but it's done now. I'm an honest guy. Let me just show you what one here. Hang on. Last time I tried to share my screen, it fucking crashed the entire computer. So let's try this.
Oh,
here we go.
Oh,
Cassette Beast is one. I'm very, very ecstatic about this revelation.
I mean,
there's no way they planned that.
I mean, it could have been much worse for you, Jay. You could have got my game.
I mean, I would rather have played that, to be quite honest.
Really?
But no, I will play some Cassette Beasts. See, as I said, we've got the 5 games here. We could have played some something good, but we'll play some Cassette Beasts instead. I'm joking.
Whoa.
I mean, in fairness, 3 out of the 5 of those games I'd have quite happily played.
So we're going to be playing Cassette Beasts for the month of June. If you're not familiar with Project Game Pass, if you're new to the podcast, etc., it's where I pick a game from Game Pass every month. We play it, we talk about it, we review at the end, and then move on to next game. And you can go on xboxtavern.com, check out the previous games we've played up until now. Been some right bangers and some not so much.
Not so
Redfall. I'm going to keep banging on, I tell you. I keep banging on. Yes, we're going to play Cassette Beasts. I'm very excited to start this. I'm sure, Ian's pleased about that, and I'm sure you two as well as Graham. Obviously, you're quite happy to.
It's on the cloud as well.
It's on the cloud. It's on. I think is it on PC as well? Probably on PC as well.
Oh, nice.
So you can play it everywhere. I mean, I've got no excuse, and I can't play on the Xbox. I've got cloud. I can't play on the cloud. I've got PC. God damn it!
Fuck's sake.
Fuck you, Game Pass. But yes, we'll play that. We'll play that. I mean, I was playing Planet Lana in the hope that I got a bit of a head start on that, but waste of time. Right, anyway, we're going to play some Cassette Beasts, but let's get on to other bits and pieces. But in the meantime, Ross, we missed last week because we were
scattered to the winds, as you said.
So I need a sort of belated plug-in, please.
Belated plug-in. We're using our word of the day calendar here. So seeing as I can definitely see one person rocking it, insert coin, Xbox Tavern 23 can be used for £5 off orders over £50. Jay rocking the incredible, hold it right up, Borderlands 1 t-shirt, Chromax the Invisible, not Son of Chromax.
Is that what it's from? Because I didn't know. Yeah,
original Borderlands, not Borderlands 2's DLC. I got you, Jay, don't worry, I'll hook you up. Insert coin, we all love their stuff. I keep getting bombarded for items of clothing from the other companies' games. And I'm like, I can't rock up Rip and fucking Ghost of Tsushima and Horizon and fucking Death Stranding and stuff on an Xbox podcast. But
of course you can. Insert coins.
Got some really awesome stuff. They always usually run some sort of deal. Even if it's not like a major sale, there's usually like flash sales. They often do like highlight, like I think is it 1 hour sometimes that they highlight X amount of products for certain games. So always some cool stuff to go over and look over there. Discord, the Discord channel's there for if you've got any thoughts on our Project Game Pass games. So come in and let us know what you're thinking of Cassette Beasts once we start playing it. See, I'm presuming if Gray's right in saying that it's like Pokemon, there'll be X amount of different ones that you can catch. Tell us what your favourite ones are. Tell us what ones you've used. And we're like, holy shit, this is the Bidoof of the Cassette Beast world. Things like that. So every bit of conversation is good conversation. And of course, we've got our channel over there for our Guess the Game, which the last week has, one of them was pretty easy. The Unpacked one, I can think of that because that's 2 days ago now. And there was another one that we all seemed to get on the first guess, which was stupidly easy. I see that Gray seems to like hit skip a lot instead of submit, so I'm starting to question the legitimacy of his guesses. A couple of times you've went, I went to hit submit guess and I hit skip instead, so you're like 2 guesses later than Jay's. So I was like, I knew it when Jay knew it, but I hit the wrong button.
Nobody knows when I know it, motherfucker.
That was when I knew it was bloody Star Fox, wherever it was, and I hit the wrong one. And so I put all the other entries in. If you saw all the other ones I submitted, no, there was the one that I thought I was, but I skipped it.
It's because we got stiffed over because in Europe it was called Lilac Wars, not Star Fox.
Lilac Wars. I actually tried to type that in. It wouldn't let me type it in.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know what game it was. I just put in Star Fox and I thought that's the only. I know the genre type idea of the game, but that's about as good as I could get for guesses. Socials run on the bottom of the screen: Twitter, Facebook.
Wait! Before
YouTube.
you move on, sorry, I need to call out a special guest, Pete here. Why are you not playing with us, Pete?
Because it makes me depressed. All the games I got wrong that I haven't played. I'm like, I haven't played that game.
I've not played a lot of them either.
I haven't played that game. I haven't played that game. I haven't played that game. So I was like,
Fuck it.
This is
Not doing it.
making me depressed not playing those games I can't play.
And you guys in the chat as well, come join us at Discord. Come join to guess the game. It's fucking awesome. I love it. Anyway,
And do you know what? There was one a few days ago that Graham got wrong. The Spider-Man. I got that wrong. I didn't. I was like, oh, it's Spider-Man. Is it Spider-Man? No, it was like there's so fucking many Spider-Mans. It was a potluck which one you pressed.
Yep.
If you know, you know.
I don't think I even got it with Spider-Man. I think I was just completely way off.
So, like I say, socials run on the bottom of the screen: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. You can find us all over any of them in some variation of Xbox Tavern or Xbox Tavern Official. Written reviews can be found at xboxtavern.com. So there will be a list that Jay will have later on in the show that you can go over and check all the reviews, whether it be games or whether it be peripherals, controllers. I think I've seen something on our boards that there's even a review coming for a gaming chair for the United States fans. Am I right in saying, Jay?
Yes.
So,
yes.
Look forward to that as well. It's always handy because these things, hopefully, fingers crossed, come to the UK so that we can pick them up and spend our hard-earned money on them. Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. If you can jump over there, leave us a like, rate us 5-star, pass comment, what you like, what you don't like. If you've got any suggestions for things like Project Game Pass, it's always handy to hear. And last but by no means least, patreon.com/Xbox Tavern. If you want to come and support us with hard-earned cash, it is much appreciated. You can supply us for less than a cup of coffee. Unbeknownst to us, we were in our editing phase, so we have quite a lot of After Darks to be uploaded, so you can hear conversations ranging from Pokemon to football to wrestling to Jay's horribly bad takes that real music shouldn't be used as WWE theme songs. But yes, so you'll have your After Dark. So if you don't get enough of us during the live podcast, you'll get to hear our dulcet tones through our Patreon. And that is your plugs for the week.
Thank you very much. I feel much more satiated now. I've had a good plug-in, a double dose of it. Thank you very much. Right, gentlemen, should we get into some of the news? I mean, we're going a bit long already, as we tend to do. So let's fire out the main story, and we'll go from there. Speaking of Redfall, as we've just been waffling on about how much I love that game, Jason Schreier, the reporter over at Bloomberg, has done his usual thing and got the behind-the-scenes details on what the fuck happened to it. I'll just read a couple of quick paragraphs and we can discuss. So he starts off here, second paragraph here, it says, Redfall, a multiplayer shooter set on a fictional Massachusetts, I can't say that fucking word, island full of vampires, debuted on May the 2nd and was promptly panned. Fans and critics slammed the game's bugs and shortcomings. On the review aggregation website Metacritic, Redfall earned a paltry 54 out of 100. Ranking them on the year's worst reviewed games. And if we skip further ahead, it says here, but to the makers of Redfall, the mediocre reception was no big surprise. The project suffered from unclear direction, frequent attrition, and perennial lack of staff, according to more than a dozen people who worked on the game, speaking anonymously because they were not authorized to discuss it publicly. And they got basically everybody from Microsoft to Bethesda, and Bethesda's Nan refused to comment, so we've got no official word here. And then we skip down again. Go away, it says here, Arcane was perpetually understaffed. For people familiar with the production, the studio's Austin office, which is the one that developed the game, employed less than 100 people, sufficient for a relatively small single-player game like Prey, but not enough to compete with the multiplayer behemoths like Fortnite and Destiny, which are developed by teams of hundreds. Even additional support from ZeniMax Wisconsin-based Roundhouse Studios and other outsourcing houses couldn't fill the gaps. And they lost roughly 70% of the people who worked at Austin in between the time of finishing Prey and finishing Redfall. So not only did they have a lot of people leave, they were sort of high-end people, experienced people, I probably should say. And then they were obviously replaced with newer people who weren't quite so familiar with the way Arcane developed games, which is probably why we ended up with Redfall in the way it was. And final quote from here was that they'd hoped that when Microsoft purchased Bethesda and ZeniMax, that they would let them reboot it as a single-player experience rather than the multiplayer thing that we got. So, gentlemen, I said a lot of stuff there. Anything stick out to you? Anything you want to comment on? Probably, I guess the main thing is that they seem to know the people that Jason spoke to, both who developed it and the people who play tested it, said it didn't really change that much. They seemed, even though Phil Spencer come and saying the review scores were like double digits lower than he expected, it seems like everybody else was like, this is exactly what we expected, basically.
I think it's shades of what happened to BioWare when they tried releasing Anthem. Like the whole team left, and it was skeleton crew of people who were working on the game they didn't know how to make.
Yeah, it seems to be the long and the short of it. Like, there was one quote from someone in there that I didn't get to, but they said something along the lines of it had like a really aggressive microtransaction like store and stuff like that, which they eventually binned off because it was deemed a bad idea. But that was obviously the route they were going for it. And then, as we just said, like everybody left. They brought a load of new people in. They were like, get rid of that and let's just focus on something else. And then they didn't quite pull it off. Anyone else? Graham? Ross?
It would make sense if they thought it was going to be a single player game. That would explain the whole stupid thing of everyone having to be there to accept a quest, and how the scaling doesn't really work with people on a different level ratio in the same game. So if it was destined to be a single player game that got changed, that would explain some of the weird way it behaved. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to be an idiot to say that something obviously clearly went wrong behind the scenes. So they're just almost stating the obvious at this point.
Yes, it seems like I said, obviously Phil Spencer in that kind of funny interview was saying that they were really hands off, and he regrets being perhaps a little bit too hands off and letting them get on with it. But I mean, he's not an idiot. He must have known that it wasn't coming along, and whoever's still decided to release it, not necessarily him, but the people at Bethesda and ZeniMax and stuff have gone, yeah, well, I mean, we've been working on it for 5 years. Let's just fucking bin it out now and see what happens.
Yeah, but
but
they pushed it quite hard as well, didn't they? So it's not as
well. They got it really, didn't
they know what they were pushing. You know, they should have reversed it and pushed Hi-Fi Rush and kind of swept Redfall. Oh, here's Redfall, by the way. If you like it, it's fine. If you don't, yeah.
That's the thing. I think because it was obviously from Arcane, they had to give it a bit of oomph. But if it had been from some other random team, or even if it was from Arcane, but they hadn't given it quite the big up when they first revealed it and just said, like, Arcane's making a new game, here's a new game. They were like, no, it's going to be amazing new immersive sim from Arcane. The developers were awesome, Deathloop and Dishonored and Prey and stuff. And then it just absolutely shit the bed, which is, excuse me, which is annoying and very upsetting, really, because it had the potential to fucking smash it out of the park, and they just missed completely. And now we've got a bit of a glimpse into why. Ross, any thoughts and opinions on this article? I mean, it's a very long article. It's well worth reading. I'll put a link in the chat.
I mean, like to say, the games that we sort of expect from Arcane are your like excellent single player games. Like, obviously, it's well known how highly spoke on Dishonored. We are Prey again is another one that's fantastic single player experience. So if people who are used to developing games like that come out and say, you look, by the way, we think this game's better suited to be this, let us work on it as an out and out single player experience, then I mean, I suppose fault falls on both parties. They were told that this is the type of game it was going to be, so obviously do everything you can and make it as good a multiplayer experience as you can single player. But then at the same time, the sort of Microsoft side have to then take it on board as the team's not really designed for this. It's more aimed at this. So why are you making this sort of idea for this studio?
Yeah, I think as Cloud here says as well, there's fingers to point blame everywhere basically, but at the end of the day, it was up to developers. I mean, yes, in a way. I mean, obviously if they get told to release it anyway, they can't sort of say no without repercussions. But at the same time, they probably should have been a bit more forceful in saying, look, this isn't what we're fucking built for. We make proper single player, hardcore, immersive sim style games and turn it into a looter shooter or Left 4 Dead style, a full on action game. It's just not going to happen. I mean, I've made my feelings clear on my opinion on Redfall over the last few months, but it's disappointing. It's like I said, Jason's article on Bloomberg. He's put a paywall-free link, which I've linked in the chat, but it's not quite come out right, so you can find it on his Twitter. But it's a good read. But it just paints a picture of people going, "I don't want to do this," and you have to do it. Oh, well, okay, because as another point he pointed out here was it was sort of started to develop at the same time as things like Wolfenstein Youngblood, which was also not a live service game as such, but a multiplayer game that had no right being a multiplayer game. Really, it would have been far better as a single player game if they'd just stuck to the traditional Wolfenstein output rather than trying to hamstring in fucking co-op and microtransactions and all that sort of nonsense. It was definitely the worst game in that series because up until then, the reboot of it, the series had been fucking awesome. But yeah, go read his article. It's very interesting. Like I said, a lot of information in there, which would take too long to read here, but well worth a read while you're having a coffee in the morning or something. Gentlemen, Redfall is sort of been once again the topic of the week. We've bashed on it. We've had a laugh. We've had a cry, and we've sort of got a bit of a look behind the scenes. We've got the showcase next week though, which is very exciting. On Sunday at 6 p.m.
ish.
Thank you. At least one of you got it. I know Ross is hoping to do some sort of live reaction along to it. That would be nice. We'll see how we get on after the rest of us have been away at a long weekend stag do. But did anybody have any thoughts and opinions they'd like to see for the showcase? Graham, any thoughts you'd like to see either at the showcase or the Starfield bit afterwards?
Yeah, definitely. Anything more on that Starfield that it can give us, sort of after the bad taste of Redfall in the mouth. That's sort of the next one to look forward to, and just so much expectation. You just don't want anything to go wrong with that now. And so, yeah, after Jetpack 6 as well, it's just anything that it can to sort of improve the taste in the mouth would be definitely something to look forward to.
I know a lot of people have said that Starfield can't miss, but it really can't, can it? I mean, it can, and there's every chance it will, but it really, in terms of what they're offering, it really can't. They've got to fucking nail this one, surely.
Yeah, you'd hope so. And that's obviously the next thing to look forward to. And I just hate the fact that we have to pin so much on it, but I was intrigued anyway before the demise of Redfall. I was still excited for this, and I haven't lost any of that excitement. If anything, it's just got that even more anticipated for it because obviously there's that gap before it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, it's been delayed nearly a year already, as well as being in development for about 5,000 years already. So, I mean, there's going to be bugs like Ross and that has said before. There's going to be technical issues and dodgy textures, I'm sure, left, right, and center. But the core concept of the gameplay stuff has got to fucking smash it. And fingers crossed, if Skyrim and Oblivion and Fallout and stuff is anything to go by, I think we've got a good chance of hitting a winner here. Pete, any thoughts on the predictions and opinions and what you want to see at the showcase next week?
I think it's time we saw a new Fable game, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, how long has it been since Fable 3 launched? Was that the Xbox 360 game?
There was a 360 game, one of the last ones, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we definitely need a new Fable game. But I think it also needs to be a showcase that highlights Xbox games. I think we saw the recent Sony's showcase where everyone was ramping it up, and then it basically got shut on the day after because it all just got revealed that everyone but one of those games was actually coming to Xbox as well.
It kind of shocked me that it was Xbox that done it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not shy of putting a little bit of a dig in. They were like, "Oh, by the way, all of them games." As Happy Cloud Gamer in the chat is saying, like, Xbox can't go wrong. So many games have been in development now, and after Jim Ryan's PlayStation Showcase, you can't go wrong. I mean, it was Jim Ryan's PlayStation Showcase, but because they shit the bed. We don't talk about it so much, but Xbox, they're gonna have to go some to whiff as hard as that one. I think.
It needs to be a showcase about Xbox games.
But what they need to make sure, and this is going to be the bit that's tricky, if like try to tie in with what Pete's saying, it needs to be Xbox games, but it needs to be Xbox games that have dates. We need to know
Yes,
these
and
are coming.
gameplay.
Not
and
summer
information.
24, not Q1 24, not fall 2023. We need November, December. Even if it's a month, give us a month.
I'm hesitant about that just because, obviously, Diablo aside, you think every game that's come out in recent memory just delays. So
But Xbox has been working on so many games for so long, they need to have stuff that is ready to roll.
Yeah, but that's the point. If it's not ready, they can't just rush it because you're going to get another Redfall.
But that's what I'm saying. They've had games that they've had so long to work on that why are they not ready?
Yeah.
Fable.
They've got so many in the pipeline. Fable, Perfect Dark, Hellblade, Forza, as well, and Avowed. What's that? The other Obsidian one. What's it called? The Outer Worlds, is it?
Oh, the second Outer
Worlds 2.
It's Outer Worlds 2. And as well as fucking 10 times more new gears, new, all this sort of stuff.
Forza,
they've got to show, like I said,
I say this,
they've
all
got
of
to show
this
games and they've got to show gameplay.
All of this will go out the window as if they announce like Fallout New Vegas 2 for fucking summer 25. To me, that's a fucking win. They will take it.
Yeah, I think part of the PlayStation Showcase issue as well was, I probably just said it, but they showed a lot of CG trailers, and like you said, Ross, they showed a lot of like, this game's coming out. What do you mean when? I don't know. When it's ready.
It's coming out. Yeah,
but this is the game. Look, it's a trailer for a game.
The plus side for Sony is they've got equity in the bank. They're allowed to do that. They've got, we've got this coming out, but remember God of War. And you remember Uncharted, and you remember The Last of Us, and you remember Horizon. So, these games are coming out. We can't tell you when, but look at what they're like when they come out. Just settle. Whereas Xbox right now have got shit. The last Halo was shit. We've not had a Gears in a wee while. Redfall was shit. So the next one that they put out needs to smash it out of the park so they can start building up that belief that they'll put out good games.
I think what would be funny if we do see something would be the 60 frames per second Redfall gameplay. Can you imagine?
I mean, I know they've.
I'm sorry to bring it back up, but like.
And going live right after the showcase, there'll be a hotfix for Redfall introducing the 60 frames per second mode.
This wouldn't be. This would be one that I'd be quite happy for them to be like. Do you know what? Redfall. Let's just push it over there. We just let the people who are enjoying it enjoy it, and we'll just look what's over that way. Loads more things. Look, come here quickly. just leave that over there for a little while.
Just let it die.
As Happy Clouds mentioned, Wolfenstein 3 would be awesome, but I've got a feeling we're going to see Indiana Jones game from Machine Games. Which I mean, I'm not really an Indiana Jones kind of guy, but Machine Games.
No.
If it's anything like Wolfenstein, fucking count me in. I love they're fucking awesome so far. Apart from Youngblood, which funnily enough Arcane helped with, which is a bit worrying, really. I'd like to see either the Indiana Jones game like properly shown off, or some more Hellblade Senua's Saga 2.
What about Gears of War? Are we due a Gears of War anytime soon?
We're due a Gears of War
we are
update.
due some new Gears, but in terms of stuff coming soon, I want to see something on Hellblade definitely. Ideally a date, like you said, Ross, but something soon.
Was it an Indiana Jones game they were making? Was that an Xbox game?
Yeah.
Was it Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
When was that?
Yeah, Machine Games, yeah.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones and the Aggressive Pension Line.
I mean, the film's just come out, innit? So we could be sort of looking for a bit of a tie-in, but...
Well, I don't know. That got panned as well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it did get panned.
That's not the best time.
Trying to release good games here, Jay.
Yeah. I mean, Machine Games haven't missed really so far for a long, long time. So bring it on. Bring on some Indiana Jones if I need to play that. If that's what they're doing. If not, like I said, a bit of Hellblade. Maybe an update, like I said, on Fable, Perfect Dark. I doubt we're going to get
Elder Scrolls, maybe.
Don't be silly.
You got no chance. Not a chance.
Not until
Online, perhaps, but not.
Not until Starfield's out.
Yeah. What about you, Ross? What are you looking forward to at the showcase next week?
Pete took the words out of my mouth. Fable was what I was sort of pushing my chips on. I think we might not get much from it, but we might get something. Even if it's, I'll take a CGI trailer at this point. All I've had is it fucking rolling over the top of the hill and then fucking settling on a wee grassy knoll, Fable. So even if it's just like a CGI type idea to give you like a bit of a storyline, even if they want to do telling you a wee bit more about it, and then they come out and go, oh, by the way, Fable 2 and 3 have been remastered and made it look a bit more spot polished, something to do with Fable anyway. Failing that, I'll always hold out that the fact that Obsidian's a company that will get a new Vegas game, it's not likely to ever happen, but I'll always throw the name out that we can get a New Vegas 2. That would be my dream.
Obviously, going back to Fable, obviously seeing a CGI trailer, I'd also like to see, or confirmation that Peter Molyneux is nowhere near it as well.
He's too busy fucking looking at NFTs and trying to find other ways to fleece kids out of fucking money, or I don't know what he does.
Fable NFTs, here we go.
No, don't give him ideas, Pete. Don't give him fucking ideas. But I think we're all looking forward to it. Like I said, they've got to nail it. They've got to show. It doesn't even have to be Xbox exclusive necessarily, but they've got to show stuff that's running on Xbox, gameplay, dates, and stuff that is coming to Game Pass, stuff that's going to be world premiere and all that sort of nonsense. Because you've also got the Summer Games Fest on Thursday, which is a few days before the Xbox one, which has already teased things like the Mortal Kombat gameplay reveal and various other bits and pieces that I'm sure he might have a few surprises up his sleeve. But yeah, Sunday's where it's at really. So I'm looking forward to watching it. Hope come home, fucking bloodshot eyes and probably dying a death, but we'll be ready.
And more
to
drinking
watch
games.
Video games reveal. Oh, I'm already like in shock from thinking about it, letting him fucking actually drinking along to the show. But again, Happy Cloud says he wants Todd Howard to come out on stage and say Starfield will run at 60 frames, not only 60 but 120. That would shut people up about Redfall only being 30, which again, as far as I'm concerned, was the least of that game's problems. But we don't need to bash on Redfall too much more. So we'll at the very least we'll be doing a podcast after the show, and hopefully we'll react alongside it as well and check out some bits and pieces from there. And I think again we've been going quite long, so I'm just going to do one more quick story, which is probably the most important one of the week. Did you know that GTA 5 will now let you hold a button to run instead of tapping it? It's very important information. It's taken 10 years.
It's important.
It's taken 10 years, but you don't no longer have to tap it to sprint. You can just hold the button down very soon, which is very exciting indeed. Right, gentlemen. Unless anyone else has got anything.
Is that like a 10 gig update as well?
Probably yeah.
It'd be some purchasable DLC or something.
Yeah. You also need to buy 5 shark cards to unlock it.
Yeah.
Right. If unless anyone else wants to talk about any of the other stories we've got on the list there, we can go on to sort of the round of the show, because again we've been going on for quite some time now. Anyone else got any news stories they want to bring up quickly?
No. I can't wait to see what the new Starfield peripherals look like.
I mean, that we're likely to see them next week as well.
Yes, we are.
But we shall see. We shall find out on Sunday next week at 6 p.m.
Ish.
Oh, you fucking come on! What are you doing?
Can't be
right. Anyway,
I can't hype their guys up. We need to be at 8 p.m. is the one that
I said it.
What? Hey, wait. So next week is the Xbox show is at 6 p.m. ish, and then we're gonna do our podcast at 8 p.m.
Ish.
There we go. Once it's done and once we've sobered up a little bit, right? Let's get on to the sort of rounding off of the show, gentlemen. Ross, we've got things coming to Game Pass this month, I suppose, have we?
I shall go super fast because obviously we were off last week, so I'll cover the ones that came into Game Pass the last week as well. So these two, May 23rd, you had Amnesia, The Bunker, and Planet of Lana. May 25th, you had Cassette Beast and Railway Empire 2. May 30th, you had Far World Pioneers, and the ones that have just came in at the start of June, you've got Car Mechanic Simulator 2021, Slayers X Terminal Aftermath, and The Big Con. And like I say, they were all June the 1st. Nice. And yes, hopefully we get another list of wonderful things coming in this month as well, probably on Sunday. Special guest, Pete, do you want to do Ian's job and tell us about what's leaving?
Yep, so we've actually got 12 games leaving on June the 15th, so a bit of a big list here.
Clearing up space for a big drop.
Yeah, maybe. So rolling off, we've got Among Us leaving, Bridge Constructor Portal, Chorus, Cricket 22, Generation Zero, Maneater, Mortal Shell, Naraka Blade Point, Serious Sam 4, The Hunter, Call of the Wild, Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, very good, go play that, and Total War, Three Kingdoms.
Very good, go and play that.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a fair few decent games. There's some Serious Sam 4 was pretty good as well.
Mortal Shell was good.
Yeah.
If you play Turtles, make sure you pick April because she's the best character.
Well, I mean, we can.
I was expecting a reaction from Graham and just sitting there going.
Well, Graham, let's get a reaction out of you by reading the Xbox Games with Gold games that we can pick up this month, please.
Apologies, that's why I was distracted. I was getting the other one that was missing from the list. So the game you can pick up is Hoa, which is available until June the 15th. And then coming in is Adios from the June 1st to the 30th.
Nice. Yeah, go check them out as always for free. Why not? Pick them up. Excuse me. Right, gentlemen. I believe we've done another podcast. I'm not sure how this works. I think we sort of round it out now and go home and prepare for next Sunday. Thank you very much for listening / watching. If you've been with us, that's wonderful. It's been a pleasure. We always enjoy recording Xbox Taverns, Xpod Tavern every Sunday 8 p.m.
Yes.
Fucking awesome. That's the way to do it. We shall see you next week, hopefully, provided we haven't died of I don't know, whatever they get down in the South Country. Probably some sort of giant squid leaping out the sea and dragging me in. Because I'll have a bit of water. Me and Ian are going to get on a boat, I think, and go diving together just to conquer our fears together. Ian, come with me.
I know you two like a bit of water sports.
Whoa. All right. Well, thank you very much. In the meantime, while we're still with you and not dragged down to the depths of the ocean, you can find me on Twitter at EnexHan. You can find Ross
at Scottish Gruff,
Graham
at Graham Reaper,
and Pete
at Peter Kinninch.
Thank you very much. We shall see you next week. Have a wonderful week, and remember, #be nice.
Be nice, you cunts.
Have a good farewell.
Goodbye.